Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk about books and horror. And today I'm here to bring you my latest haul. This is probably the biggest haul of the year, so I am hoping that it's also going to be the last for 2023. So yeah, I'm just here to let you know all the books that I have recently acquired. So as you guys know, I recently spent a week in England, in London to be precise. I went to YALC and a lot of books were purchased in that trip. And I also had a couple of other books here at home that I had ordered. And so I decided to make like a combined book haul and hopefully the last of 2023. I think I have around maybe 50 books. But yeah, here's everything that I have added to the collection.
It's coffee time!
So I decided to split this video in different categories in order to make it a little bit easier. The first part is going to include the books that I got before going to YALC. The second category is going to be books that I bought at YALC. Then I'm gonna make a third category for the books that I have bought just to get signed and show you the signatures. And the last section of this video is going to be the books that I bought in England, London, outside of YALC. And in that last section, the last book is a holy grail of mine. And thanks to that book, I am currently filing for bankruptcy. But I was unable to walk out of that store without the book. I tried 3 times. It didn't work.
Sadly, I have not been able to do so. I tried 3 times.
So yeah, let's get started, shall we? Let's start with some non-horror books. So the first one is Here the Whole Time by Victor Martins. This one was on my radar. I think I even might have this on my Kindle, but I saw that Alice Osman really enjoyed it, and so I decided to pick it up. It's about 2 boys and one of them doesn't really love himself so much. He doesn't like the reflection that he sees when he looks at himself in the mirror. And he doesn't believe that a guy would ever like him. And I'm really intrigued about this one and see the kind of like self-love, self-discovery journey of the character. So this is one that I really want to read. And then I finally picked up a copy of We Spread by Iain Reid. I'm thinking of ending things was and it still is one of my favorite books of all times. Is definitely my favorite thriller. I absolutely love it, and I have been so scared to pick up other books by the author because I love that one so much that I'm scared of hating everything else. But I finally grabbed a copy of this one and I am willing to give it a chance. I think this one is more focused on what happens to us when we are confronted with the reality that we are all gonna get old, and all the grief and all the loneliness that comes with that, I think, or something related to getting old. And let's see if I can get through this one without crying. I think Iain Reid has a way of writing things that is quite impactful, but I'm excited. Then I bought The Idea of You by Robin Lee with the only purpose of reading it before the movie. That's the only purpose. And it is the relationship of a woman with a boy from a boy band, and there is kind of like a interesting age gap between them. I'm not really sure how much, but I basically just want to read it before the movie comes out, and hopefully I'm gonna enjoy it because I don't know, I've never read this author before or anything. I just basically wanted to read it before the movie. It's also not the type of book that I normally gravitate towards, so I'm kind of curious slash scared. Then I bought Playing the Palace by Paul Rudnick because this was recommended for people that really love Red, White, and Royal Blue, so I decided I will give it a chance. And you know, when you see this cover, you kind of get the vibes, so we shall see if it's as good. Then I have The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and this is a prequel to They Both Die at the End. It has been one of my favorite Adam Silvera books, and when the prequel was announced, I was really excited and I wanted to pick it up, but I never did when it came out. So I finally have a copy and I'm really excited to read it. And as you can tell by the titles of these books, is not happy. I mean, it is kind of heartwarming in a way, but these books do deal with death and knowing that you're about to die and dealing with grief and all of that while you're also trying to love someone. And it's just kind of devastating, but at the same time it did have uplifting moments here and there, almost like a happy ending, if you could say so, of a book when you know they both die at the end. But I'm really excited to get to the prequel. And the last two books that I have to show you that I got before going to England are horror books. The first one is Supernatural, The Usual Sacrifices. I have started collecting these books and I hope to find many more. I would love to read the books. We are currently rewatching the TV show, and so I would love to, after I finish my rewatch, get to the books, because I never read the books and I love the show, so I thought I would give them a shot. And the last one is Midnight's Lair by Richard Lehman. So the reason why I picked this one up is because my friend Sharon, she picked this one up recently and it was a reread for her. And I've been meaning to expand my Richard Lehman collection as well. So when I saw that this was in the edition that I actually wanted available, I decided to grab it. I don't know exactly what it's about. I think some people are trapped in a cave or something, but it is Richard Lehman, so I am expecting all the trigger warnings. And with that out of the way, we are going to dive deep into my YALC book haul. So YALC, it is basically a convention for people that read young adult books. So all of the books that I got there are young adult. I think I got a middle grade or two maybe, but for the majority they are young adult. And all the books that I got are either horror thrillers, and there are some queer romances there as well. And I think there's a couple of fantasies that I got arcs for. So let's dive into it. I'm gonna start showing you all the books that I got by Tiny Ghost Press. They were there both days, they were lovely, and all their books are basically creepy books. They're horror books, but they're also queer, and I fell in love with the covers. They gave me tote bags with little ghosts and they are fantastic. So I am super excited to get to the books that I got by them. So the first one is Wicked Little Things by Justin Arnold, and I mean, look at this cover. How can you not want to purchase this book? The colors, the evil bunny over there, it's just, it looks fantastic. I believe it deals with a coven and also a masked killer that wears this kind of bunny mask, so I'm here for it. Then I got two books that I had on my wish list anyways, and they had them there, and they had both of them because the sequel is not out yet. So the first one is called The Alpha Son, and these are books, I believe, about werewolves, and they are by Penny Jessup, and I wanted to pick it up anyways. And they had the sequel here, which is Chasing the Alpha's Son, and the sequel, they told me, is not out yet, so it was exclusive to YALC, so I decided to pick up both of them because why not? I love these covers. I have only read one other book about werewolves this year, which was Bite Risk, so I am kind of in the mood of reading more about werewolves. And the last book that I got by Tiny Ghost Press is This Pact Is Not Ours by Zachary Sergi, and this one I was told that is about a group of friends that are spending like summer holidays together, and there is this lake where there's some sort of monster or creature that the people in town have a pact with, probably some sort of sacrifice to keep it quiet. And this sounds like it's gonna be so much fun for next year, for summer. I'm definitely gonna keep that for my summer reads. And this one, they told me, was already signed by the author, so it has a little book plate here, so I decided to pick it up as well. And I'm definitely gonna pick up like the rest of the catalog because all their books sound so good. So if you're interested and you haven't heard about these books, you know what to check out. They're called Tiny Ghost Press. Then on Sunday they also have sales at the publisher stands, and so one of the publishers was doing, I think, 3 books for £10 or 3 books for £8, something like that. So I finally picked up I Kissed Sarah Wheeler by Casey McQuiston, which is a book that I've been meaning to pick up. They are the author of Red Wine Royal Blue, so I have been meaning to read their other books. I'm currently reading One Last Stop, so excited to pick this one up as well next year. Then I picked up The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, because it's a book that I've heard so many good things about, and I've been meaning to pick it up as well. So, you know, I was like, you know, now that they have this offer 3 for $10, I might as well take it and see if I enjoy it. And the third book that I got in that package was The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a book that maybe I would not have picked up if it was not because of this offer, but that is what I also love, going to YALC and just blindly buying books that sound good to me and not focusing so much on them being horror or thriller. Maybe, you know, I try different things, and I am a little bit more open to explore more genres and more things when I'm at YALC, which I think is healthy as a reader, to have different options and sometimes read things that are out of my comfort zone. I think this is a book a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's not a book that I would particularly pick, but it sounded good to me, so I picked it up. I mean, it's about magicians and a secret society, so in a way it's something that should be appealing to me. It looks to be a little bit dark, which is something that also appeals to me, so hopefully this might be one that I really enjoy. Then I picked up a copy of Café con Lychee by Emery Lee. Again, they were doing a sale. It was only £4 per book. And I know I have this one on my Kindle, but I decided to pick up the physical copy of it. I do love more physical books than Kindle, even though I am trying to read as well more on my Kindle, simply because I don't want my physical to be a pile to get out of hand. But when I'm at YALC, all of those plans go off the window. Everything is allowed, and so I decided to grab a copy, and I'm just hoping it's going to be a wholesome, cute romance. Then Scholastic was also doing a sale on Sunday, and they were offering 2 books for £6, so I decided to pick Destination Unknown by Bill Koningsberg, and this is, I believe, a coming-of-age story, and I've never heard of it, so I decided to pick it up. It's a story about identity, connection, and survival, and it's also supposed to be heartbreaking. You also need to think that when you go to get these sales on Sunday, it means that they have a lot less options available, because a lot of the things that were available on Saturday and early Sunday are already sold out or gone. But that again gives me the opportunity to check out titles that otherwise I might have not picked up, which is again one of the reasons why I really enjoy going to YALC and just, you know, picking up books that I might not have found or picked otherwise, and I might still enjoy them or not, but I love to give other books a try. And the other one that I picked up that they had on the table was Murder, She Wrote, Carry My Secret to Your Grave by Stephanie Kuhn, and this one, it's about a murder, so that was basically my only reason for picking this up. Whenever I can, I pick up thrillers or horrors, but the majority of books that they have at YALC, I would say the vast majority is fantasy, and then there is also a lot of romance. There is less of the thrillers and horrors, but I am always encouraging publishers to bring us more of the darker side. So talking about getting more horrors and thrillers, I did speak to one of the publishers there, which were Sourcebook Fire, and they told me that they want to expand their thriller and horror catalog, so we can all get excited about that. And I picked up 2 of the books that they had there because they sounded like great thrillers. The first one is called Four Found Dead by Natalie D. Richards, and these are people that are trapped somewhere and start dying, which is, you guys know, one of my favorite horror tropes. We are in a theater, the last movie is over, people have left, there are 6 co-workers, a couple of strangers, and the power goes out and people are trapped inside of this theater. So I think this is fantastic, and I'm really excited to give this one a chance. The other one they had that was horror or thriller is They're Watching You by Chelsea Ichazo, and this cover is also great. All I know is that there is a girl missing that the police is trying to find, and we also deal here with a secret society, so count me up. So these are the 2 books that I picked up by Sourcebooks Fire, and I'm really excited to hear that they are going to expand their horror and thriller catalog for young readers. Next we have Out of the Blue by Jason June. I read another book by the author called Jay's Gay Agenda, and I really enjoyed it. And they had this one on the table signed by the author, so I decided to pick it up. This is one that I had on my list of books that I would potentially pick up. So it was there, and I decided to grab it because I also like when it comes with the signature. It is a book plate, but it's still a beautiful signature, and I'm really excited to check this one out. I also always ask publishers to recommend me a book that they have on the table that is kind of like a good thriller or a good horror, and one of the publishers recommended me Gorgeous Gruesome Faces, Win or Die Trying by Linda Cheng. I know this is a sapphic book that has a kind of like a K-pop star involved as well, and I don't really read many books that have like boy band members or K-pop stars, but it's something that I am in a way interested in because we've all been fans of some bands, we've all been part of fandoms, and I think bringing that to the more kind of thriller aspect of it might be something cool, so I'm really excited about this one. The next two books I got on a book sale that they had going on Sunday evening as well. They were offering 2 paperbacks for £6, and it was really late on the Sunday, so they didn't have many titles available anymore, but I did see a title that I wanted, which is The Lost Girls. I know some people have read this book this year for the YA book club and really enjoyed it. I love vampires, I love this cover, so I wanted to pick it up anyways at some point, so I decided to grab it. And like I said, they didn't have much left on the table, so I picked up a book that looked like a middle grade. It's called The Devouring Wolf by Natalie C. Parker, but I mean, look at this cover. I mean, it just looks fantastic, and it is middle grade, age from 8 to 12. But I'm really excited to read this one. I've been really enjoying reading more middle grade and YA this year. So I'm really excited that I could pick up these two just for £6. And on that same stand, they were offering free books. So where do I have mine? Here. And I picked up a book because I read that it was about werewolves, and then I realized that it's actually a sequel. And that is Secrets and Shadows by Shannon Delaney, which is this one. It was a free book, so I decided to pick it up, but it is a novel that belongs to 13 to Life, so I'm gonna have to find that one first. But it is a werewolf novel that I've never heard of, so I decided this is the one that I was gonna take for free. And on my search for more YA thriller and horror, I found a book called Scare Me by Terry, and I decided to pick it up. I love this cover. I believe it deals also with a little bit of loss and grief, so it's going to be also something that I do enjoy. I like my books with some grief and loss, and basically I just like books that emotionally destroy me and wreck me. Apparently that's something that I have definitely learned this year. So I'm really excited about this one, and I don't know if you can appreciate it, but there's like a tear falling down here. The cover is just stunning. And the last book that I picked up that I paid myself at YALC is a hardcover that I got on sale on Sunday, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I only paid £6 for this one, and it's a book that I have been meaning to pick up. I've always wanted to read Brandon Sanderson, but I do feel a little bit intimidated by his adult novels, so I thought reading a YA one might help me to get into his writing, even though it is gonna be different, obviously, because it's a different age group. But I'm really excited also because normally I don't read any fantasy sci-fi, or at least not anymore, and I think this is going to be a good way for me to read also more diverse when it comes to genres next year, so I'm really hoping to enjoy it. And the last two books that I have to show you before we move on to the books that I got signed are actually 2 ARCs that I received at a book event. Olivia over at Olivia's Catastrophe was so nice to invite me to a Hachette party, and it also gave me the opportunity to see her again this year and hang out with her and chat a little bit, and it was a lovely evening. They did organize this party with other people from the industry, you know, like people that create book content. There were publishers, there were book authors there, and it was a lot of fun. And they gave us a goodie bag that had 2 ARCs that I'm going to show you now. The first one looks like something I wouldn't particularly pick up, but when I read what it's about, I'm kind of excited to read it, and it is this book here. It's called A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft, and it's coming out on January 2024, and it says a cursed seamstress, a smoldering prince, and a royal scandal woven between them. I love it. This sounds like a book that, like I said, I might not have picked up on myself, but it honestly sounds like something I would enjoy. And I'm really excited. Have you seen this cover? It's absolutely stunning. And the back is so pretty. So I'm going to try my best to read it maybe next month so I can give you a review before January, even though this is not my particular type of genre that I would pick up. And the other one also sounds fantastic and has a beautiful cover. It's called In the Shallows, and it is a captivating sapphic mystery about lost love and second chances. Look at this cover, it's so pretty. Love the colors. And this one comes out February 2024, so I'll probably push this one to my January TBR pile and also give you guys a review before it comes out, because when I do get ARCs, even if it's not my preferred genre, I always want to read them and give you guys my opinion before the books come out. So I'm gonna go out a little bit of my comfort zone with these books. I think even not this one so much. I think this one is more out of my comfort zone, but I'm excited nevertheless to try them. So thank you again, Olivia, so much for inviting me to the party. It was a blast and I loved to catch up with you. It was fantastic. Hopefully we'll be able to see each other again very soon. It is time, you guys, to move to the next category, and I have the impression that this book haul is going to be one of the longest ones I have ever done, because there's so many things for me to talk to you guys about and so many things to show you. So our next category is going to be books that I got signed at YALC, and the majority of them I either bought right before going to YALC or I bought them there right at YALC to get them signed. So these are all still new books. How to Die Famous by Benjamin Dean, and this is a book that I wanted to pick up anyways. It sounds like a fun murder mystery in Hollywood and I'm excited about it. And I got this one signed by Benjamin. Here it is. And I'm really excited. Then I got to meet Patrick Ness, and even though I have only read A Monster Calls by him, I always wanted to try this book. This is a book that I always wanted to read. It's called More Than This, and I am really excited about this one. I got the book, of course, signed. And the other one is this one, The Knife of Never Letting Go. This is part of a trilogy. I know that Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe absolutely loved this book. I've heard really good things about it. I have obviously not watched the movie because I want to read the books first, and I never really bought it, but now I had an excuse to get it. And again, something a little bit different to what I would normally read. So I'm really excited to check it out, and obviously it's another one that has been signed. Then I met again Simon James Green, who I already met last year, but he was back and they only had one book of his that I didn't already own, which is A Boy Like Me. So I decided to grab this one because it's the only one that, like I said, I didn't have. And here it is, the signature. I'm really excited to read it. I've only read one book by him so far, but I do want to read all his books because they are a lot of fun. The next books I actually purchased this ones years ago when they came out, but the author was gonna be there, so last year she was also there as well, and I'm talking about Beth Rickles, and these are the Kissing Booth books. I took with me book 1 last year to YALC and got it signed, so I decided to take book 2 and book 3 with me. I have not really been reading any of her new releases, but these books, when they came out, they were a comfort read for me. I know they're not perfect. I know they might have problematic relationships, but they were a comfort for me when they came out, and I was sometimes in a dark space, and these ones really lifted my spirits. So I guess they have that kind of emotional feel for me, and I got them signed, and it was so beautiful and pink. And yeah, I haven't read any of her newer ones. If you have, let me know if there's any that I definitely should check out, because I'm a little bit lost. These are the only books I have read by her. Then I got my copy of Wise Creatures by Deirdre Sullivan signed. You guys know I've loved this one. It's such a beautiful grief story about huntings and how we as people can get hunted by things that have happened to us, and how we carry that with us to a house, to a new place, and the house becomes hunted. I thought it was really interesting and I got it signed. So excited. And I did meet her already last year. She's lovely. So yeah, I cannot wait for her new books. I feel like there's a lot of authors that were there last year that came back this year, which I'm not mad about at all. And one of those is also Jonathan Stroud. So I finally got to read Lockwood and Co. After I bought volume 1 and 2 at YALC last year, and now I bought from volume 3 to 5. And I got them signed by him, and I'm just so excited that I have discovered this book. So thank you to everybody that has ever recommended it to me in the comments, because you were right. I am loving these books. So yeah, I got all 3 of them signed. I'll just show you one. Here it is. And I'm just so really excited that he came back, even though I had to carry all of this to London and back. Worth it. Then I met Kathleen Glasgow, which is an author I've always wanted to read, but I never have. That didn't stop me from purchasing the books, as you can see. So I decided to buy How to Make Friends with the Dark, because it's the one that I feel like probably will resonate more with me, but I still have not read it. I did get this one signed. I also got a little bookmark. I got so many bookmarks at YALC. So I got it signed, and I also got a copy of the Agathas, because I've heard this is such a good like mystery. This is one that she has co-written with someone else, with Liz Lawson, but anyways, I got this one signed as well. Unfortunately, while I was on my queue for Jonathan Stroud, Yvette Fielding ended her queue 1 hour early. So when I was done with Jonathan Stroud, I couldn't go to get my books signed by her because she was already gone, which is not nice of YALC to do. Like, I understand if you have booked like 2 hours of signing and after 1 hour no one else is really coming to your queue, you might want to cut it off early, but it's unfair for people that are at other panels or other queues trying to get books signed, and then they don't get the chance to meet Yvette Fielding, which I missed her this time at YALC just because I was at someone else's queue. But nevertheless, I found book 3 at Waterstones, and it was a signed copy. I didn't own volume 3 yet, so I decided to pick it up. But it's sad because I did bring with me volume 1 and 2, and I couldn't get them signed because I missed her queue just because they ended it 1 hour early. But at least I managed to get volume 3 signed by the author. It's not personalized, but I guess it's better than anything. And she has a really cute signature right there. But yeah, now I have all 3 volumes that have been published so far. Then I got my books by William Hussey signed. I got signed Broken Hearts and Zombie Parts, which is a book that I read earlier this year and really enjoyed. Here it is. And I also got Hideous Beauty signed by him. This is one that I have not read yet, but I'm really excited to read. So earlier this year, I did a spoiler-free book review of This Book Kills by Ravenna Guron, and the sequel to the book is coming out, I think, January next year, but they already had copies at YALC, and Ravenna was there herself to sign, so I got myself a copy. It's called Catch Your Death. Murder is a dish best served cold, and I was really excited to find these. I mean, I don't know if this is maybe already out in the UK, but when I go to Amazon here in the Netherlands, it says it's not out until 2024. So I was really excited to get a copy, and I got it signed, and I got to meet her and tell her how much I enjoyed This Book Kills. So I'm really excited to get to this one as well. Obviously, I went to meet Rosie Talbot again. I met her for the first time last year at YALC, and she was so lovely, and I was so excited that she was gonna get her first book published, which is 16 Souls. I buddy read it this year right before going to YALC, and I absolutely loved it so much. From the character development to the supernatural story, all the ghosts, all the action, the plot twist, it was just so good. So I'm really excited that I got to see her again at YALC, this time as an author, signing and doing panels, and she was lovely as always. So I got both books signed. I got 16 Souls signed, and she writes like really cool quotes based on things that I told her. And then I got 12 Bones, which I'm really excited to dig into after that ending of book 1. And I also got it signed, and she even made a little ghosty over here. I don't know if you can see, there's a little like ghosty here, and it's so cute. Then I was lucky enough to go and meet Holly Jackson. I was so excited to meet her. I have to admit, I still have not read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, but I've always been intrigued about it. It sounded like fun, and it sounded like my type of book. But I decided to pick up the special hardcover edition because it's so pretty, and I thought, you know, if I'm gonna get something signed, I might as well get a pretty copy that is now available. So she did sign this one for me. And I also got my copy of 5 Survive signed. I literally just ended reading this on my train to London and absolutely loved it. It was just such a good thriller. It had a couple of plot twists. It was violent at times, and it is so funny because after seeing Holly Jackson in her panel talking about, you know, thrillers and writing this type of books, I realized that she's my kind of person. She likes disturbing stuff, and she wants to push the boundaries of YA, and she wants to get more intense with the horror, and I'm all here for it. So it was lovely to meet her. She's fantastic. Here's the other one signed, and she stayed hours just to make sure that everybody got their books signed, which is also something to praise her for. She doesn't have to. All the authors have a specific time slot that they are supposed to be signing, but the majority of them, if they don't get everybody's books signed, they stay, and she stayed for hours to make sure that people got all their books signed. So, you know, I love to see when an author appreciates the readers like that. And last but definitely not least, I got my copy of All That's Left in the World by Eric J. Brown signed. I already saw him there on Saturday, and I got a little bit starstruck. Like, I love this book so much. Like, it's my new obsession, to be honest, to be fair. And he is lovely. I went to his signing on Sunday. I went to his panel, and yeah, he's great. And there is a sequel coming from this, May 2024, that I'm really excited about. So I got this copy signed by him, and I told him how obsessed I am with the book, and I told him to write one of my favorite quotes of the book, which he did kindly for me. And the other one is Lose You to Find Me, which I still have not read yet, but I must. And I also got this one signed, so really excited. It's gonna be an auto-buy author for me from now on, for sure. For cheers. When it comes to goodies from YALC, I'm not gonna show you everything that I got because it's too much, but I did manage to grab the Alice Osman postcards that they were giving away. These were free, so I got myself a copy of that. Then I got a sample for the sequel to All That's Left in the World, which is going to be called The Only Light Left Burning. And I got this one signed as well. And I got these beautiful postcard as well. And I was so excited. And I won a sample of the new Holly Jackson that's coming out next year that I'm really excited about. It's called Rachel Price Disappeared Without a Trace, and this is an exclusive sampler that you could only win playing some games, so I'm really excited that I got it. When it comes to bookmarks, you get so many for free at YALC, but this one here I won playing a game, and it's kind of like a Hunger Games inspired bookmark, and I really love it. And the other one that I bought is this one, because have you seen it? I will put the handle of the creator down there so you can check it out, but she has beautiful bookmarks. I just didn't want to spend too much money, but I had to take this one because this dagger is fantastic. And then I went obviously to see the publisher that publishes Casey McQuiston's books, and they saw me coming in with my Red Wine Royal Blue t-shirt, and they took a picture of me holding the book, and they told me they were gonna do like some Polaroid games and stuff later, and I should come by to get some goodies. So I did, and they gave me 2 free pins. I got one that says Team First Prince. I think you cannot see it so well, but it's kind of like shiny. And the other one says Red, White, and Royal Blue, but it's very shiny, so I don't think it comes good on camera. But anyways, They also took a Polaroid of me and I was wearing my red, white, and royal blue t-shirt, represent. And this is how the Polaroid looks like. Don't know if you can see so well. Okay, I think like this you can see. So they gave me this Polaroid. This is like a legit Polaroid that they took right there on the spot, and this is now one of my most like precious possessions. So now that we talked about YALC for hours, or at least it does feel like hours for me, we're gonna take a look at the books that I got outside of YALC, which are not many, because I knew what I was gonna get myself into going to YALC, and also because of a very expensive purchase that I did basically the first day that I went to book shopping in England, which is going to be the last book in this haul, leaving the best for last. So let's take a look now at the books that I picked up outside of YALC. At Waterstones, I was so excited to find these two books. If you've been following me for a while, you know I have been trying to complete my Cirque du Freak collection with these covers, because they form the word Cirque du Freak, and I was missing 3 volumes. So I managed to grab 2 of the ones I'm missing. These are volume 6 and 7. So the only one I'm missing now is 11 to have it complete. They're not exactly the same one. I think the other ones that I have, the originals, were like shiny, and these ones are not shiny. But it doesn't matter because I can still complete the words on the spine and they all look the same. Because right now I have 3 editions that look really ugly. So I got this too, and I'm so excited that I'm only missing 1 more. And this is such a good series. I should reread it very soon. Then I got The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which is a book that I've been meaning to pick up as well. I really do love Matt Haig's books and his writing. So this is one that I've been meaning to pick up, and I finally gave in and bought it. Then I bought a book that I already own. Let me explain that to you. So I bought Bite Risk by S.J. Wills, and I already had a copy of this that I read and reviewed this year, but this one is the special editions, and it just looks so pretty. I mean, look at it. Look at it. I think I first saw it on Gavin's channel, now called Gavin Reads It All. And when I saw his copy, I'm like, I kind of want that copy. And so I bought it. When I was there, I came across it at a bookstore and decided to buy it, so I will be giving away my other copy because now I have this one. Then also at Waterstones, I found a book by William Hussey that I have been meaning to pick up, but it has been unavailable on Amazon over here and I have not been able to get my hands on it, and that is Jekyll's Mirror by William Hussey, and this also happened to be a signed copy. So yeah, I got this one because I felt like this one was one that I would enjoy. I mean, it looks like my kind of vibe, and I did enjoy the other books I've read by the author, so I decided to grab it. And then I decided to grab a book that I am unsure if I'm gonna love it or not, but I have seen the sequel going around a lot. A lot of people that I follow have been really excited to get the sequel to this book, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance. And they had a copy at Forbidden Planet that was signed, and that is Terror Tome by Garth Marenghi's. So I have seen the sequel to this everywhere in the last couple weeks, and it has piqued my interest to the point where I decided to pick book 1 and see if I like it. I'm not sure because I feel like this is going to be one of those authors that is a little bit like Grady Hendrix, that it might be a hit or a miss, but I'm excited to try it anyways. And yeah, we'll see. This is one of those books that, you know, the kind of like TikTok made me buy it, but kind of like social media made me buy this because I keep seeing it on people's channels and Instagrams and people that I like normally trust their opinion. So I don't know, I'm just gonna give it a chance. Then I could not resist myself and I got a copy of The Fragile Threads of Power. This is a follow-up to the trilogy that she did, like V. Schwab did, and I have not read that trilogy yet. But I have enjoyed everything by V. Schwab that I have read so far, so I am kind of convinced that I'm gonna enjoy that one as well. I think the trilogy was called A Darker Shade of Magic, so I have not read the books, but I never come across copies like this. It is an exclusive copy by Waterstones with spread edges, and it's signed by the author. I sadly have never had the chance to meet B. Schwab yet, but I do have a couple of her books signed that I have been able to find in bookstores. I don't know, there's something about her writing that really resonates with me. A lot of people that I have been talking about books at YALC have told me that they like the ideas that B. Shrub has, or the ideas for the books, the themes, but they don't quite connect with her writing. And that was really interesting to me because I do connect with her writing, and it's one of those fantasy authors that I actually enjoy, which I don't read much fantasy, but if it's B. Shrub, I'm gonna check it out. So I was really excited that I found this copy and I was able to get it. The next two books I found on sale at Forbidden Planet, and they are more art books, but I'm gonna quickly show them to you. So I got The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro for only £4.99, so I had to grab it. And the other one is The Art of the Strain, also a book by Guillermo del Toro that he co-wrote. It is a trilogy about vampires, in case you didn't know. And there's a TV show about it, so this is the art for the TV show. And I also bought it only for £4.99, so I couldn't say no. And I also got a planner, a monthly planner, which is obviously Heartstopper themed. It has a lot of pictures. I think they are only pictures from season 1, but it comes with exclusive like stickers on the back and stuff. And I think I'm not gonna use this as a regular planner. I'm gonna use this to put quotes and stickers from books that I love, quotes that I love from books, and I'm gonna turn it into kind of like a journal thing, because I would hate to use it just as a regular monthly planner and then just have to get rid of it at the end of the year. No thank you. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn it into a personal journal with book quotes and cool stickers and stuff like that, and collect it all here. You guys, the time has come to reveal the book that has financially ruined me, but I'm not even mad about it. So every year when I go to London, there are some like secondhand bookstores that I always come across, and whenever I see a bookstore, I have to go in, especially if they're secondhand, because I might find many books that are hard to find where I live. And so there is a secondhand bookstore that I've always visited, and every time I went, they always had some nice hardcovers from authors that I enjoy, like Stephen King and stuff like that. And they always had like beautiful first editions with beautiful covers, and that is also where I got my first edition of It by Stephen King with the UK cover, and my first edition of Pet Sematary also with the UK cover that I bought. They were not cheap, but Stephen King is an author that is really worth it to me because I owe him my love for horror books. He was my first horror book author that I ever read, and I really connected with his writing and the way that he created these worlds and characters. And so it has a special meaning for me. I understand that not all his books might be for everybody. I know that in the recent years he has been gravitating more towards thrillers, but I still love him, and I think I will always will because of what he meant to me when I was a teenager. So I I went into the store looking for more of those beautiful first edition Stephen King books, and I did find one. It's bubble wrapped, so bear with me. I'm even scared to touch this. That's how serious it is. I mean, it might only be that important to me, so it might be an anticlimax for some of you. I'm not gonna lie. All right, you guys, let's do the reveal, shall we? The book is Lisa's Story by Stephen King, and it is, yes, a first edition of the book in hardcover in amazing condition. But that is not it, you guys. That is not it. It is a signed copy by Stephen King. A signed copy by Stephen King. And I want to call myself realistic. I am probably never gonna meet Stephen King, even though it's one of my dreams, because he doesn't really come out of the US for book tours and stuff like that anymore. And in the US, he doesn't even do so many signings anymore either. So the chances of me meeting him in real life are quite slim. Also, trying to bid for signed books on eBay is a little bit crazy, and you might end up spending a lot of money, and most of them you don't even have like a proof that it is a real signed book by Stephen King. And with this bookstore, they are antiquaries and they have certificates, and they gave me a letter to prove that the book is genuine and the signature is genuine. And it also comes actually with a like the tickets that the person got to get the book signed as a proof as well, that the book was signed in person by Stephen King. And honestly, I spent a lot of money in this book. But when I was walking out of the store, I first didn't buy it. I just walked out and I said, you know, it's a lot of money for a book and stuff. But I started to think about how much it means for me emotionally, and how much it would mean to me to have a signed Stephen King book. Like if I could only have one signed book in my whole book collection, I would love for that to be a Stephen King book. Because again, it's kind of the reason why I got into reading horror. And it has a very special meaning for me. And so I was walking out of the store. We made it to the corner of the street. We were waiting by the traffic lights, and I was like, I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life, because what are the chances that you go to one of these bookstores that have special editions, first editions, signed books, and you find a signed Stephen King book? It's not very common. It's the first time in my life that this has happened. Also, I don't live in the UK, so finding a signed copy of Stephen King here is like impossible. Like, it's not gonna happen. So I took it as a sign that this is the book that I had to have signed. Also, this book is a book that my dad gifted to me when the book came out. And I do have a Spanish edition of this book that I have kept because my dad gave that copy to me. And so in a way, this book has also another meaning for me. It's a book that my dad got me from Stephen King, and now I have an English edition signed. And you know, I know it's a lot of money to spend in a book. I'm not gonna tell you how much I pay for it, but you can imagine. But I feel like if I would have walked out of that store and really not go back and get it, I would have regretted it. I would have. So I just see it as an investment now. But I'm extremely excited and happy that I have finally a signed copy of a book by one of my favorite authors of all times. And yeah, it made me really happy. So, you know, it was worth it for me. It was worth it. Let me know down below, you guys, if there's any author that is kind of like your holy grail that you would love to have either a very special edition or a first edition of a book by that author, or that you would love to have a signed copy by that author. For me, that's always been Stephen King, so the fact that I have it now is just mind-blowing to me. Alright, you guys, so this was everything now. I am surrounded by books. I've been sitting here for very long time, so hopefully this video is not gonna be way too long when I edit it down, but I do hope that you enjoyed to see all the books that I got, that you enjoyed to hear all my stories and things that I had to say about the books. I had a blast at YALC. I met many lovely people, and I am excited to go back again next year for sure. So thank you guys as always so much for watching, and as always, let me know down below what you thought of any of the books that I have been mentioning in the video. Let me know what is a book that you recently bought for yourself that you were really excited to get. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!